Welcome, everyone, to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual cognitive behavior and neurolinguistic programming practitioner specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage and relationship coaching, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and also provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one sessions in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMV Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found at lifecoachddanamzallag.com. Now, in today's 10th and last episode of season 33, I'm very excited to have Jen Dalton as our special guest and the creator or the co-founder of the most delicious energy protein bar I have ever tasted in my 30 years experience in the fitness industry. And she is here to share with all of us her journey to come up with nutritional supplement that doesn't taste like cardboard box. Now, she will also express why proper nutrition represents over 80% of our fitness regimen, as it dictates body composition, energy levels, and metabolic function far more efficiently than exercise alone. So without further ado, and as with all of my previous episodes, I will leave it to our guest to properly introduce herself, as no one else can do a better job. Jen, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you. So I'm excited that you got to speak with my husband a moment ago, and he is going to join us.
Oh,
So he's going to sit in with me.
excellent. Well, so good to have you both on this podcast and to also be a part of changing our society. And as we all know, it's now recorded like close to 61% of people who are either overweight, and out of those 61%, there's 25 that are morbidly overweight. And we know why now. There's a TLC show, My 600-Pound Life, that is a very popular show. And it basically shared the journey of people who go from being over 600 pounds to going through gastric bypass surgery to be able to live a healthy and long life. So first and foremost, whoever wants to answer, actually, what brought you into the fitness industry or the nutritional bars?
So when I met my husband, and my husband is David Dalton, when I met David, he was already making a bar at his own home. I was a single mom living on fast food with my son, working two jobs, driving him to school an hour there, an hour back every day. So my life was as fast paced as you can possibly imagine. And on top of insecurity and everything else I was dealing with, just as being a single parent. So when David and I met, he was on a health journey that I had yet to discover. So he had a health issue himself that sent him on this journey. And that's when he started making a bar for himself at home, because he just wanted something that was a little tastier than what he was finding on the market, not just tastier, but a little healthier. How could he add in just a little bit of extra help or health into the product he was making? That would help aid in something he was dealing with himself, which was it gall?
No, kidney stones.
Kidney stones.
Okay.
Yes. And so when I met him, I probably walked in with a cheeseburger. That's how I say it. My son and I come bebopping in but as he started to make them and his son was eating them, his son was older. My son looked up to him. He started eating them. I started eating them. And then my husband and I just discovered this health journey together on how to convert me out of the fast food world and into a healthier way of living.
Well, that's amazing, because this is definitely, we have to make the changes from within ourselves first before we can preach others to make those changes. So in a way that your direction and your goal here, David, is definitely something that a lot of people have to get inspired from. But to go to the bars, because Jen sent me a few bars that I also sent to some of my fitness trainers in my network. And unanimously, they all find it to be above and beyond delicious. Because as you and I know, the bars, most of them that we find in the market, I mean, they have no taste. Yeah, they may have 30 grams of protein in it, but really the taste of it is not really as as delicious as the one that I tasted with your bars. So when it comes to changing the composition of those bars to make them so tasteful, what else do you add? Because people are really focused a lot on the organic option that you guys have, using really organic, I would say, ingredients. So how can you make the bar taste so good and use, I mean, those kind of material?
Dr. Dan, thank you. It's easy for me to remember your name because my brother's name is Dan, short for Danny, and also Daniel. I don't know if it goes back that far for you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Dr. Dan, what I started with was a little mound of flour, mound of powder. And then I built a bar around it. And that mound of powder were what we call organic active ingredients, built primarily on a substrate of mushrooms. Now, mushrooms are starting to become very popular, and we were working with them 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they were considered bizarre to most people, and including us. So, so what happened was we knew there were three. I'll just say three pillars that had to be in place for this to work. For us, it was first the pillar of purity. We had to have, we felt like it needed to be all organic. And then secondly, we also are parve kosher. Now we don't have anything against meat, red meat, or anything like that, or dairy product, but we personally wanted it to be parve kosher.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we wanted it to be gluten-free, non-GMO, and there were multiple other things. I won't go down the list, but we tried to make it as clean as possible.
Okay.
The other pillar was when we would use the term power. It needed to be efficacious. Now, as you know, being in the field you are, that's a fancy way of saying it needed to be effective. It needed to be felt and measured and measurable
Mm-hmm.
on a personal and experiential plane. And so that's where the mushrooms came in. And then we started locating other exotic ingredients, such as guarana, which you know is the caffeine. And don't run from that word. That's not a bad word, especially if it's natural occurring. So we started using the seed powder primarily out of Brazil and other parts of the world, but that's versus an extract. So this was a pure organic powder and something you certainly can elaborate on. This was not only about purity, it was also about bioavailability. And then the third P, which actually I thought was going to probably be the easiest, but turned out to be the hardest. Mm-hmm. And that was the palate. It had to taste good. And that was extremely difficult. So Jan's tapping my leg here as wives do with husbands.
Well, yeah.
You got something to say.
So with the taste, no, we spent years, we're coming into our 14th year, and it was the longest part of the journey for the taste. No matter what we did, my husband finally said, I'm going to have to learn how to make chocolate, and I don't want to learn how to make chocolate. We roast all the almonds to make the fresh almond butter. We make fresh peanut butter. We do everything in house except for the chocolate. So we were like, how do we make chocolate? And that began another 8-month journey of him learning how to make a chocolate that turned out to be diabetic friendly on top of tasting amazing.
Well, yeah, in fact, it had a glycemic, or it does, has a glycemic index of 1. And I had someone, a nutritionist who was local, and said, I could tell she didn't believe me. And I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to bring you on the inside and I'm going to prove to you that this has a glycemic index of 1. And so the primary reason for that was for the yacon, Y-A-C-O-N, which is called the ground apple of Peru. But the problem with yacon, as you may know, and some people know, is yacon is highly susceptible to mold.
Mhm.
And we know what causes mold to grow. It's oxygen. So, and one of the primary foods that it needs, I use that word rather reluctantly, but I can't think of a better word. But but anyway, that sent us on a journey of creating a hermetic seal that in the bar industry did not exist.
Mhm.
And we had to bring the hermetic seal where it was, which was around 6 to 8, and we had to get it to a minimum of 12. And that took us 4 years to find or to design the packaging that could retain the nitrogen. So we ended up being able to work with the yacon because we were able to put it in a nitrogen or an oxygen-free environment. So we created this chocolate from raw cacao butter, and then organic flavoring. And so that's how it all came together. And I got to tell you, Dr. Dan, I was scared the whole time. I'm thinking, I'm not a chocolatier. I can't do this. And I was really afraid that I wasn't going to be able to do it. But 8 months later,
Yes.
it came about. And so that's one of the primary things that makes the bars taste as good as they do.
And they're just like spectacular. I mean, you guys did such a spectacular job. So to go back to, because I know a lot of people paid attention to the word mushroom. So is it psychedelic in nature?
No, these are all the primary mushrooms. No, there's nothing psychedelic about the mushrooms. Uh, but anyway, so with the primary mushrooms that we do use, which most people are aware of, which would be the lion's mane mushroom,
Mhm.
but they're better if they come from the root system, the mycelium. And we've done a lot of research on that. There is some debate out there about the flower and the versus the mycelium, and that's a whole other subject. But these are, by the way, these mushrooms are grown on a substrate of gluten-free oats in a laboratory.
Okay.
And yeah, and I don't mind telling people where we get these mushrooms from, which is one of our secrets, but it's okay for me to mention it. And that's from, if you go to your local store, you can go online or go on Amazon. They're called OM, O, the letter O like ostrich, M like Mary. So OM mushrooms, that's one of the primary locations we get our mushrooms, as well as from Beyond Organic, which was developed by Jordan Rubin, who was the founder of Garden of Life, Ancient Nutrition. A lot of people know about that. And so those mushrooms come out of the Ozarks. So yeah, so we're very fortunate in that we are able to use the mushrooms. And you probably know, for us to put 500 milligrams of mushroom in there is more than what you would find in most places. But again, it had to do with supportive language on studies for the efficaciousness of the mushroom.
Oh, I see, I see. Now, the certain bars that Jen sent me, I have the one that has for focus, the other one for calm, the other one are for women, the other one are for men primarily, for energy, and so on and so forth. So, do you guys use any kind of like additional supplements such as magnesium or phosphate dicylserine? This is good for reducing cortisol level, or CoQ10 for energy production. Do you guys mix a little bit of that inside those bars, or is it just something else that you add?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that question. Well, as far as the magnesium, which is a critical ingredient, as you know about the deficiencies of magnesium,
Mhm.
we don't add magnesium, and we're not against putting it in there, but we have enough in the mushrooms and in the almonds to give it what we believe is a level of efficacy. Now, you mentioned there's not a single product that we actually add the actual mineral or vitamin to it.
Mhm.
But we do use what I believe is the best source of vitamin D3, which is called Usnea lichen, USNEA LICHEN. It's sometimes referred to as the old man's beard because that's what it looks like. It's the most difficult thing you'll ever have to grind in your life, but you can if you've got like a Vitamix or something like that, and you can grind it up. But that's the purest form I know in nature, in plant form, for getting your D3 into your system. And we do use that in one of our bars, which is called Immune.
Immune. Oh, okay. I know now there's a lot of supplemental vitamin that people use, especially now it's become very popular, ashwagandha.
Yeah.
Is there any of your bars that has those additional supplement to be able to bring maybe more efficacy to the bar?
Yeah, so I'll answer that. Yes, our Calm Bar, and again, we make a product that we hope works with the things that people are taking at home.
Mhm.
Most people are taking vitamins or minerals or things like this at the house. The immune bars are a great option if they want to take something different.
Mhm.
But when it comes to the ashwagandha, we make a bar called Calm. And the Calm Bar, we worked with a group of natural doctors that said, hey, did you know if you take ashwagandha, rhodiola, ashwagandha, and cordyceps, and you combine them together, it'll give you a natural calming effect. And we were like, well, let's try it. So we took the powders, like my husband said earlier, you start with the powders and then you build everything around them. So we were able, it took about a year, but he was able to create a bar called Calm that gives you that natural calming effect. You can eat it in the evening as well. And yes, it contains the ashwagandha and the cordyceps.
And we would recommend on the Calm, and actually, I want to, even though we're using the term bar here, I want to reframe this and say really what this is. It's a whole food supplement.
Okay.
Everything, it is an organic whole food supplement, and you take it. Of course, you got to digest it, but think of taking a vitamin or mineral, and then people think of eating a bar, but really you're taking the bar because all the names are outcome based. In fact, when we went to Whole Foods originally 10 years ago, we sat down, and I sat down in a conference room with the regional director for Whole Foods in Atlanta at that time, and there were multiple other people sitting around the table, and they were looking at our product, and it was kind of discouraging. The girl who was in charge, she said, we don't have a category in our store for your product because she said you are kind of a hybrid between a nutraceutical and a functional food. And she said, I don't know what to call you. She said, she said, but she said, we see the future is in mushrooms. And we were way ahead at that point. It's 10 years ago. She said, so we want to bring your product into the store. And so they did. And that was 10 years ago. And they've kept us in the store. Unfortunately, we're only in the region of the Southeast region. We're in 6 states. We've not really tried to expand. But the good news is, Dr. Dan, we've been hyper focused on building out a facility that's able to produce massive volume. And it took a long time to get all the quality control measures in there. It was extremely difficult, but we're there. We got it done. We have our facility in which we make these products. This is a dedicated organic facility, which is extremely rare. There's no conventional products that are here. So we've had to work hard to keep the purity component in the product. But anyway, there are other differentiators, but think of it as a whole food supplement.
Okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, with what's been going on after the post-pandemic of COVID, and a lot of people now are experiencing a lot of mental health issues of anxiety, stress, high cortisol level, and all. Now, do
Yes.
you feel that your bars maybe in the near future will focus not necessarily to treat or cure mental health problems? Obviously, this is very difficult to do so. But for example, if you look at kava, which is to reduce anxiety symptoms, when you look at phosphate-aldosтерine, it reduces cortisol level. If you look at rhodiola rosea, it's very good for fighting fatigue and stress level. So do you think that you guys are going to focus a lot more on helping people with their mental health?
So I'm going to answer one side of this, and then he can answer the other side of that. So one of the things that I've noticed, because I do a lot of the customer service and a lot of the shipping, I get stories from people. There's something about what we're doing that people get so excited to get these in their homes. I've had marriages where I don't know how to explain it. It's like maybe marriages have gone through some things and they have forgotten what it is to have anything in common.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, and I try not to get emotional but it is emotional. I'll get stories of my husband and I get so excited every time we know these are on the way because we sit and enjoy them together.
Correct.
Or I've gotten phone calls from people who have family members with dementia, and maybe they're eating the bars. A couple of phone calls like this, where they're maybe eating it, and even though their loved one appears mentally not present, their bodies somehow know that it's good for them,
Mhm.
and they'll lean in towards them. And so I've had stories where all of a sudden a loved one is eating like the Focus bar or eating one. That amazes me. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Again, I'm not the technical side of this, but from an emotional standpoint, as a mom, as a family member, as someone that just thinks, what I would want for my own family, it melts me when I get these stories from people.
Absolutely. And this is definitely something that a lot of people know, especially they know the future of eBars and where you guys are headed with the kind of like organic ingredient that you guys are using is definitely incredible future that you guys going to have, especially now that we're looking at becoming healthier. And, like those, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar that in the past 10 years, a lot of the schools have removed all the junk vending machines from their establishment because they feel that they're the cause of childhood obesity. And I think that you guys putting those bars in vending machine, you guys can create an enormous fortune just related to that.
May I add a comment to that, Dr. Dan?
Please do, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I know you can wrap your mind around it. What we're actually doing from the 50,000-foot level, think of it like this. You've got the pharmaceutical. Pharma is Latin for drug, Ceutical is Latin for a remedy that can be felt and measured. So you got a drug remedy. Then you step one level down. You've got the nutraceutical. And I'm sure the original intent of those who started that would be that it was all coming strictly and totally and completely from a nutrient. But unfortunately, there's a lot of synthetics and fillers that are in there.
Mhm.
And then step one level down, and I haven't mentioned this, and I got to tell you, I can take no credit for this because I had it in a dream, and I had a dream, and I can take no credit for it. But I saw a piece of paper. It was like ripped in third, like a typewriter piece of paper, and there's a word written on it, and the word was Wholeceuticals. I had never heard that word or thought of that word. And then, so we ended up filing for that word and got the principal registration for it. So what this is, really what we built out is a complete architecture for a new category.
Mhm.
Now, I'm connecting this to what you said earlier, and that is about the importance of the next generation children. So what we've also got is we have a periodic table of nutrition, which is an interactive table that teaches children how to learn about parts of about food or whole food in the context of parts of their brain and body, and how to correlate the two. Now, because I'm up in my years, my mother she wanted me to eat spinach. And the way she got me to eat spinach, Dr. Dan, is she would let me watch Popeye, and I never could figure out what olive oil meant. I just thought that was a weird name, olive oil.
Yes.
Of course, I know how good olive oil is on spinach, but I didn't know any of that stuff. So my mother got me to eat spinach by watching Popeye. And she did, and she wanted me to do healthy things, and she would limit how high I could go, but she wanted me, she says, bananas are really good for you. They help you climb trees. So she got me to eat bananas, and she got me to drink milk because that's good for, for your teeth. Of course, she would always add a little bit of chocolate into it, kind of get it down. But my whole point is nothing has changed about children. And so what we have is we've got this periodic table now. Now, because of the advent of artificial intelligence, there's an enormous amount of information that we need to gather to make it work as well as it should. And we're in the final stages of that. But so we got the I'll call the mothership. On the highest level is the periodic table of nutrition. Underneath that, we have the periodic table of superfoods. And then there's the periodic table of mushrooms. So we've got the principal registration for those and to develop all that out. But my point is this is an architecture, is what it is. And there's a lot more to what so we're not just a bar company, we're actually, we're a category that we're bringing to the market called Wholeceuticals. It's a delivery system that's completely and totally centered around organic whole food that is infused with an efficacious amount of whatever the active ingredient or the outcome that the person needs.
That is amazing, David. So before we conclude the podcast, where can people find your bars?
We are in the southern region. We're in the Whole Foods area, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida. But as far as we're hoping to branch out, so right now they can go online at eBars with an S, that's EBARS.com, and find us there. And then there's a catalog on that website that'll explain all the bars. It's just scroll to the bottom and you can find it, and they'll find us there. And then they can email me directly, Jan, Jan, at eBars.com. My husband says him too, but I answer mine a lot quicker.
Well, if you've got more of an in-depth question, which I may be able to help on, then it's Dave, D-A-V-E, Dave at eBars.com. And Dr. Dan, I want to tell you how much we appreciate you allowing us to be on your show. And we're very honored, and we've been kind of working in a cave here for all these years, and now we're coming out of the cave.
Well, Dave and Jen, I mean, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today's podcast. And again, thank you both sincerely for taking the time out of your busy schedule, especially what Jen told me about fixing those machines that were on hold because of the storm that you guys had. But thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your participation to this episode by sharing the importance of proper supplementation when trying to reach optimal health without having to compromise taste over functionality. Now, to our millions of listeners out there, we hope that you've enjoyed today's last episode as much as we did. And we're also very excited for what's ahead of season 34 of the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, featuring a lineup of incredible guests with powerful stories that will continue to uplift and inspire all of you. Now, here are some concluding words of wisdom. Supplementation can be a powerful ally in achieving a truly healthy lifestyle. Even with a balanced diet, it's challenging to get every nutrient your body needs for energy, recovery, and immunity. Proper supplements fill nutritional gaps, supporting muscle growth, joint health, and overall performance. They help your body repair faster after workouts and maintain peak energy throughout the day. Vitamins, minerals, and protein enhance not only physical health, but also mental clarity and focus. Consistency in supplementation complements your training, turning effort into measurable results. It also strengthens your body's defense, keeping you resilient against stress and illnesses. So when paired with proper exercise and nutrition, supplements empower you to reach your goals faster and safer. Investing in your body today ensures longevity, vitality, and sustained wellness for years to come. Don't forget to be able to purchase those eBars at ebars.com. And again, my name is Dr. drdanamzallag, and you may all keep pursuing your amazing journey in life. Stay tuned for our next episode.